if I try to juggle. I've never juggled before. Okay, that hit me in the chin. Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley, and I'm so excited that you're here. Now, I want to ask you a question. How would you define resilience? Now, before I tell you what I think, I'm actually going to text some of my middle school students to see what their responses would be first. Let's see what they say. Okay, their responses are coming in. Okay, this one's from Bella. She says being tough. Cool. This one's from Harper, to keep going. This one is from Chloe, to not give up when things get hard. And this one's from Zion. I don't know. Oh, Zion. Well, I still think all of those are such great ways to describe what resilience means. But when I think of resilience, I think of the ability to keep going when things are getting hard. It's showing up to face the challenging things in life rather than running away. It's knowing that you're gonna be okay when things don't turn out the way that you hoped. Choosing to never give up, bouncing back and growing stronger after you've struggled, failed, or faced really difficult things in your life. That's resilience, and that's exactly what we're gonna be talking about together. So to start, let's be really honest. Some of us can't master our favorite video game. Some of us can't seem to grasp that math concept or grammar or science. Some of us have had a hard time finding a great friend. Some of us have had our hearts broken. Some of us tried out and didn't make the team. Some of us have experienced the death of someone very close to us. And some of us know how it feels to be treated differently based purely on our gender. And some of us know what it's like to be discriminated against because of the color of our skin. So right away, it's important for me to say this. No one can or should make you feel like the pain you've experienced from the setbacks in your life didn't hurt a lot. These things hurt. And the reason that they hurt is because you care. You should feel the sting of these things because we know that whatever you've gone through, those setbacks have been really difficult. In one way or another, all of us have dealt with some really painful, really challenging stuff. And this kind of stuff makes us want to stop showing up, stop trying, stop fighting to keep going. The kind of stuff that makes us want to give up. Okay, I know I've been there. So when I was in middle school, I tried out for this really elite dance team. And I'd never danced before, but I was so passionate about it. I was so excited. And I tried out for this dance team, and it was the hardest 6 weeks of my life. And there was this big performance that was gonna happen at the end. And in this dance routine, I had to do all of these like flips and tumbles and cartwheels. And I'm not athletic, I'm not flexible. I'm really actually kind of clumsy. And so I had the hardest time because I was trying to do this impossible flip. And I really wanted to give up. So maybe like me, you felt defeated, worn down, unsure if you could handle it, or really ready to quit trying. I wish that I could tell you stuff like this eventually always works out. That the older you get and the more you grow up, the less likely you'll be facing these hard things in life. But sadly, that's just not true. Trouble will always find us. Challenges will always be there for us. It's not because we've done anything to deserve it. It's simply because, well, this is life. Now that's the bad news. Life isn't the way it's supposed to be. All of the difficult and painful stuff that we're gonna deal with, that's really not the way God intended for life to look for any of us. God did not intend for life to be painful. However, pain is a reality in our world because of sin, which is the things that we do to keep us from a close relationship with God. But the truth is, God promises to be with us when we experience pain and to make things right one day. And that promise can help comfort us when we experience really difficult things. Now, I get that this can be really hard to believe at times because I think for a lot of us, this is an idea that following Jesus means our lives will always be incredible. And that if we believe in God and live the way that God calls us to live, that means we'll have no pain, no difficulty, and no heartache. But then life happens. The difficulties show up, and that can make us not only feel like we're ready to give up on dealing with it, but also like we're ready to give up on God too. But the good news is that God didn't intend for life to be like this. God promises to be with us in the pain. God is able to use the pain to build perseverance and resilience. And because God understands pain, God knows how we feel when we experience it. That means God can help us keep going, to keep hoping, to keep believing, to be resilient in everything we might go through. Now, thousands of years ago, this guy named Paul had plenty of reasons to want to give up. See, Paul started out as a not-so-great kind of a guy. He treated people really terribly, especially people who believed in Jesus. Until one day, Paul met Jesus himself, and everything changed. Knowing Jesus changes everything, and it certainly did for Paul. So soon, Paul became the guy to not only follow Jesus, but to lead the spreading of Jesus' message around the world. He was a leader in the early days of Christianity, and he helped to start so many churches and change so many lives in really great ways. You'd think that life got really great for Paul from that point on, right? Wrong. In a letter written to one of the churches that Paul started, he talked about all of the trouble that he dealt with since deciding to follow Jesus. So take a look. I have been put in prison more often, been whipped times without number, and faced death again and again. 5 different times the Jewish leaders gave me 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. Once I spent a whole night and a day adrift at sea. I have traveled on many long journeys. I have faced danger from rivers and from robbers. I have faced danger from my own people, the Jews, as well as from the Gentiles. I have faced danger in the cities, in the deserts, and on the seas. And I have faced danger from men who claim to be believers, but are not. I have worked hard and long, enduring many sleepless nights. I have been hungry and thirsty and have often gone without food. I have shivered in the cold without enough clothing to keep me warm. Did you catch all of that? Well, that's intense, right? And this is the guy who wrote almost half of the New Testament in the Bible. The guy who had every reason to believe the good stuff he did would equal an incredible life with no pain, no difficulty, no heartache, but he was also the guy who literally had trouble knock him down at what seems like every turn. But here's what I think is so important to notice. Paul had every reason to give up, but instead, Paul kept going. Now, take a look at what he wrote to another one of the churches that he served. No, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God, through Christ Jesus, is calling us. The it that Paul was referring to is the idea of knowing Jesus fully. The moment that Paul met Jesus, his views of what was important in life changed drastically. However, Paul didn't believe he fully knew Jesus yet. Remember, knowing Jesus changes everything. And that includes the way that we can face the hard, difficult, unfair stuff in our lives. Without the hope we have that Jesus will one day make all things good and right, we might be tempted to give up. But hope in Jesus changes that for us. It helps us have resilience to never give up. So look back at what Paul said just after that. Forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead, I press on. In other words, he was saying that his Jewish heritage or his past achievements weren't the end goal. He chose to forget about the unworthy goal that he was trying to reach in the past, because now he had a new goal that he was looking at and running toward. He had a new promise that he was never giving up on. Paul's new goal was to know Jesus completely. He would receive a prize when he reached that goal, but he would only reach that goal when he stood face to face with God. He pursued that goal while living on earth because he wanted to get to know Jesus as well as he could before entering God's presence. No matter what he walked through, no matter what knocked him down, Paul kept his focus on knowing Jesus more through it all. Keeping our focus on Jesus helps us find the resilience that we need to keep going. When we get knocked down, we're better able to bounce back up when we trust that His Spirit is with us, working for us, and has more ahead for us than we can see right now. Let me put it this way. Scientists have estimated that it takes this small ball 1,000th of a second to hit the ground and bounce back up. Pretty cool, right? Well, consider how high it can bounce depending on how hard it is thrown down. Oh. See, resilience makes us like this little ball. It helps us bounce back from the setbacks life hands our way. Resilience helps us to never give up. And the hope that we have in Jesus helps us to develop that resilience. While He was alive on earth, Jesus said something to His followers that I think can help us understand this. Let's take a look. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. Now, did you notice that Jesus didn't say we might have trouble? He didn't say there was a possibility. He said that trouble was a guarantee in this life, but he also said that we could take heart, that we could have hope because Jesus has already beaten every trouble we'll ever face. And this is amazing news because it means that because of Jesus, we don't have to give up. We can bounce back. We can have real resilience through anything life throws our way because the Spirit of Jesus is with us. See, resilience is the ability to bounce back from a setback, and resilience helps us never give up. I know this is possible. I know that we all have it in us to bounce back. I know that with Jesus, resilience is possible for us all, and I know because I experienced it myself. Remember that story I was telling you about when I was in middle school trying out for this dance recital and it was so hard I almost broke my neck trying to conquer this impossible flip? Well, I went home and practiced every day after day after day. I was rolling around on the ground trying to conquer this flip, and I finally got it. When it was time for the recital, I did it. See, resilience helps us to never give up. And when you find yourself facing a setback that has you ready to give up, stop and ask yourself these things. First, ask what's happening. In other words, identify the situation you're in that's making you want to give up. What's happening to cause the pain and the stress and the hardship in your life right now? And what do you wish was different about the situation that you're in? One of the first steps towards building resilience is to be honest with yourself about what you're facing and how you want to change it. Then ask what's true no matter what. When we're facing the difficulties of any kind, it's important to focus on what's true. Remember, this is a tip Paul himself gave us. When we focus on the power of Jesus in our lives, that's going to help us build resilience. So consider what's true no matter what you're facing, that God loves you, that God is with you, and that God didn't intend for life to look like this. That God gave us Jesus to rescue and help us through it. That Jesus has taken on and defeated all of our challenges. That with our eyes on him, we can begin to bounce back. We can have resilience. And finally, ask, what can I do? The truth is, so many of the setbacks we'll face in life will be out of our control. That doesn't mean there's nothing we can do to help us dig deeper and find the resilience that we need to keep going. So think about what this looks like for you. What's a good first step to help you start practicing resilience? Maybe it's opening up to someone about how you feel. Maybe it's asking for help from a friend, a parent, a group leader, or a counselor. Maybe it's choosing to show yourself grace or to be kind to yourself. Whatever it is for you, think about just one thing that you can do in the face of hard and difficult things to help you keep going. Remember, resilience helps us never give up. Now, if you're facing something that you know you need help with, something bigger or harder than you know how to handle on your own, I want to encourage you to talk to your parent, your group leader, or an adult that you trust today. Believe it or not, they probably have stories of what they've walked through to help build resilience themselves, and it might really help to talk with them about it. The adults in your life and at your church show up because they want to help you bounce back. So consider sharing with them about what you're facing today. I bet that most of us are going through something to require some resilience building. And one of the things that I found most helpful is talking about it with other people who are on the journey too. So be brave and talk about it with the people that you trust. You just might find out that you aren't the only one walking through what you're walking through.